Thank you. I passed out this for everybody to have, and how it came about was I was working with a new client, and I set them up and guaranteed her I'll make sure that I can get you the best rate. And after I set up everything, calls me back and said, I just talked to my bank to cancel, and they said, hang on, we're sending you our best rate. And they sent her the best rate, but the rate that they sent her was just a fixed rate. And she said, oh, that's so good, I'm going to stay with them, so I'm going to cancel. And I said, well, wait, send me what they're sending you. And I went back to my team and said, like, she's crazy, because if you read what this has, and I'll read part of it for you, when it says the term interchange rate, that's what we gave her. It's an interchange rate, refers to the fees charged by the card companies for use of their cards. These card companies include Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. The interchange rates change twice a year, in April and October. The payment processing companies make money by putting a markup on top of the interchange rate. This is called cost plus, or interchange plus pricing. That's how we make our money, is we charge a little bit above what the interchange rate is. Interchange being the card company rate, and plus being the markup by the payment processor. Interchange plus pricing structure has the lowest rates, and compared to all other pricing structures, tiered pricing and flat rate pricing, which are much, much more expensive. So I had to explain to her that what they're doing is they're giving you a flat rate, and let's say that flat rate is 3%. But what happens is that the interchange rates, let's say the interchange rates go from 2% to 3.5%. And the reason why they're different is that everybody has a card. It says, I'll give you free miles, right? I'm going to give you this, I'll give you that. I give you a free hotel once a year. They do all, well, there's a cost to it. So when they charge, when it gets charged, they have to get that money back somehow, and that's what they're doing. So the thing is, are all the rates going to be at 3.5? They're not, because it's only going to be maybe an American Express card that'll be 3.5. Most of them are around 2%. So what they're doing is saying, we're going to give you 3% all the time, because they're going to protect themselves. Because why would they give you 2%? Because if they get higher, they're losing money. And there's no way that Wells Fargo is going to lose money. So they're figuring out what most people have. They probably even went back to look what she was charging and saw that all her rates were below that. So they know that they're going to make more money, and they just went and gave her that rate. So when we look at it, we went through and said, we know it's going to be lower, we just didn't know how much lower it's going to be than what the rate that they were offering her. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go like 3 months from now and get a compilation of all the rates that she's had over the 3 months to get an idea to say, here, this is how much you're saving from what they were offering you. And that's where I want to be able to tell people, is where I say we can always get the lowest rate, is that even when the banks know that they're losing it, they're still offering a higher rate, that we can still always get it lower for them. And that's how I was able to give my guarantee that if we can't, you have $300 that I'll pay you if I can't lower your rate. The other thing about it is that most of the rates that I change for people, I can cut it in half. So it ends up, but most people think if I'm paying $200 a month in fees, I'm going to cut it by $100. It might not be $100 because there's other fees attached to it. But if they're paying, say, 30 basis points, I've always cut it to 15. If they're paying 20 basis points, I can cut it down to 10. So I'm always be able to, and most of the times I've been able to get it to lower it for them. So that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about, was the exchange rates that they had. The other thing I wanted to go over, is there any questions that some people sent me? And if I can read it, it's going to say, how did you get in this line of work? And I just told you 10 minutes ago exactly how I got in this line of work. It's how do you benefit small businesses? And it's like, definitely that is just, I can save them money. The difference is that how much business they're doing. If somebody's doing $10,000 a month in credit cards, as opposed to someone who's doing $50,000 a month, I can obviously save more money for someone doing more business because it's a percentage that I'm saving them. The other question they have is how do they set the current rates? And we just went over that. It says, what are your best clients? Best clients are ones that are small businesses. Definitely restaurants, small fast food, small restaurants are the best ones because I also have POS systems that I can give them for free that I have for them. Also, the other businesses that I can do is like mechanic shops. Tire places are really good because they do high volume, because someone comes in and they need to get, if they're getting 4 tires or they're getting their car fixed, it's going to be maybe $400, $500, $600, $800. Most people aren't bringing cash to them, so they need to use credit cards on that. Definitely ones at doctor's offices are ones too. Dentist offices are ones that are good clients for me. Also, I've had ones that would be either like salons are good because they do a lot of volume on that. So those are the best clients for me. I don't think I have any worse clients. The worst clients would only be ones that are probably not doing very much business. Because if they're not doing much business, how much can I save them? If I save them, $3, $4 a month, it doesn't make sense to switch them to something different. That's most of the things that I wanted to talk about. Does anybody have a question? Yes.
What's your opinion on like a program that offers you a flat rate price for all cars?
Well, when they were offering, I was explaining, when they offer a flat rate, the only ones that you would have, like if you're doing small, what is like Square, so people that use Square, and what Square does is I can lower the rate, but what Square does is there's governmental fees that are attached when you're doing it. And what Square does is Square doesn't charge you those fees. They eat those fees for you. So if you're not doing over $6,000 a month, then probably staying with Square makes more sense because I'm not really saving you money and I might be a little bit more expensive than that. But I can always lower the rate. It doesn't make sense that way. But if you're already taking credit cards on a regular at the bank or somebody that's doing regular credit card services rather than Square and those companies, then definitely if they're offering you a fixed rate, then it's not going to be good because why would they give you it lower than what you're already processing? It doesn't make any sense to them. So they're going to get there and try to give it high. And plus, if you're starting, they don't know which cards you're using, so they want to protect themselves. So it's not a good thing to be doing. Any other questions? Yes, Doc.
I've got one. Just
yes.
Over the years, I found that the thing that I've typically been burned on is the terminal, where I've ended up in a contract and they kind of switched the agreement.
Okay.
So I ended up paying $4,000 for one of those terminals that they kind of buried the fees, and I kept calling, oh, your rates are great though, we've got great rates. So how do you balance that out with the terminal fees versus,
and do you have the tablet?
Yeah, the last one I got was the tablet.
Tablet, okay. So with my program, the tablet is free. So we give it to you for free. There's a $3.99 they have as a deposit. So you just get it back when you turn it back in. So that way you're not having that. And that was the same thing that Happy Pets had, that they were doing it, where they said, oh yeah, everything's free and everything's fine, you're getting a great rate. And at the back of their contract or the bill, we saw $184 a month. that they were charging him. And it's like, yeah, we couldn't figure it out, but we finally figured that that's what they were doing, was that side. So when you have the contract, when your contract ends, you can go through and then I'll just give you a free one, and then I'll lower the rate also for you on it. Yeah. To make it easier.
Questions, so I didn't want to tell him.
All right.
Are we good? Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Good job.